Your hands are shaking, your heart is racing, you're sweating, and you can feel that lump in your throat. You have 20 minutes before you walk in for your presentation. So you take the little pill people swear by, and the shaking stops. But how does propranolol really work? Does it actually control the fear, or does it just silence the alarm? I'm Dr. Ayer, quadruple board certified psychiatrist. I've treated thousands of people struggling with anxiety, and today we'll talk about propranolol. Not whether it works, because it does. I want to show you the one thing it cannot reach, and why that one thing is usually the real problem. If you have ever taken a pill to get through a speech, a flight, a hard conversation, and felt calmer in your body, but still scared in your head, this video will finally explain why. Let me start with something I need you to hear before any signs. You're not weak for needing help getting through a hard moment. Your body is doing exactly what it was built to do. So here's what happens the moment you take it. When you get scared, your body floods with a hormone called adrenaline. Doctors also call it epinephrine. It is the fuel behind the fight or flight response. This is the same survival system that once helped your ancestors run from danger. It is old, fast, and does not stop to ask if the threat is real. Adrenaline is why your heart pounds, it's why your hands tremble, your voice shakes, and your mouth goes dry right before you speak. It does this by landing on tiny docking stations in your body called beta-adrenergic receptors. Think of them as little locks, and adrenaline is the key that switches on the panic. Propranolol sits on those locks and blocks the key. Adrenaline shows up, but it cannot get in. So the pounding softens, the shaking settles, the storm in your body goes quiet. Here's the part most doctors never explain. This drug was never built for anxiety at all. In the early 1960s, a Scottish scientist named James Black was trying to save people's hearts. He built propranolol to protect the heart from stress hormones, and it worked so well, he later won the Nobel Prize for it in 1988. Calming nerves was an accident. Doctors noticed people on this heart medicine also stopped shaking before stressful events, and word spread. That is why to this day, using it for anxiety is what we call off-label. It means the drug is borrowed for a job it was never designed to do. But here's where it gets interesting. There is a reason it works so well on the body, and it has to do with a loop most people have never heard of. Your racing heart is not only a symptom of fear, it feeds the fear. Your brain is always listening to your body. When it feels your heart hammering, it does not think that is only nerves. It thinks something is wrong and keeps triggering alarms. So the pounding makes you more afraid, and being more afraid makes the pounding worse. Round and round. Doctors call this a feedback loop. Propranolol breaks that loop. It quiets the heart. The brain stops getting the danger signal from below. That is the real trick. And we have known this for a long time. Back in 1982, a study published in the American Journal of Medicine tested this on musicians with stage fright. Some got propranolol, some got a sugar pill, and nobody knew who got what. Then experienced music critics rated their performances. The musicians and propranolol shook less, sweated less, and the critics scored their playing higher. Now, it was a small study, 29 people, so I will not oversell it. But the effect was real, and it lines up with what I see in my own patients. When the body calms down, the mind has far less noise to react to. This is the part that surprises my patients the most. Everything I have described happens from the neck down. Propranolol works mainly in the body, not the mind. Its biggest effect is out at those receptors in your chest and hands, not deep in the thinking part of your brain, which means it never reaches the thought that started the fear. It quiets the alarm bell. It does nothing to the hand that keeps pulling the alarm. For one scheduled speech, that is often enough. Calm the body and you walk in and do it. But for a nervous system that is stuck on high alert every day and still struggling to unwind at 11 p.m., a pill that only mutes the body is a mute button, not a repair. That is exactly why I built a program called the Nervous System Reset. Propranolol can quiet the alarm for an hour. The reset is about the system underneath that keeps sounding it in the first place. If that is you, the link is in the description below. Let me tell you about a patient. I'll call her Bridget. Bridget was 46, and every 3 months she had to give a big presentation at work. Her heart would race and her hands would shake so badly she could barely hold her notes. Her doctor gave her propranolol and it helped. She got through the presentations and was grateful. But then she came to me with a different problem. On an ordinary Tuesday, sitting on her couch, her chest would go tight for no reason at all. The pill did nothing for that, and it was never supposed to. Because that tight chest on a quiet Tuesday was not stage fright. It was a nervous system that had been running hot for years. She was also struggling with generalized anxiety disorder. Still talking about propranolol, this next piece changes everything you think about this drug. I'm not here to talk you out of it. For some of you, before a specific moment, propranolol is truly the right tool, and there is no shame in using it. Medication is a tool, not a personal failure. But I have to be honest about who it is not safe for. This drug also blocks beta-2 receptors in your lungs, which can be dangerous if you have asthma. It can be risky with certain heart conditions, and it can hide the warning signs of low blood sugar if you have diabetes because it quiets the very shakiness that would normally warn you. So this is never a pill to borrow from a friend or start on your own. This is a conversation with your prescriber. And here's what nobody tells anxious patients. If your anxiety lives mostly in your body, in one specific moment, this drug can be a real gift. But if it lives in your head at night, if it follows you into quiet rooms where nothing is wrong, then a beta blocker is unlikely to be the best solution. That is not the tool failing you. It is just the wrong tool for that job. For the record, when the fear is deeper and constant, the treatments with the strongest evidence are talk therapy, especially the kind called CBT, and medicines like SSRIs that work in the brain. Examples of SSRIs include Zoloft, Lexapro, and Prozac. Here is something most people never get told. Back in 2018, a team of researchers ran the biggest comparison of antidepressants ever done. They pulled together 522 trials and more than 116,000 people stacking 21 different drugs against each other. And two names kept rising to the top for the best balance of working well and being easy to tolerate. Escitalopram, which you know as Lexapro, and sertraline, which you know as Zoloft. That is a big part of why if you walked into a doctor's office anxious and overwhelmed, one of these two is probably what you walked out with. But here's the part that matters. Best tolerated does not mean fixes the root of your anxiety. So this next video dives into the best way to treat anxiety.